I will introduce the panic movie The Host. February 2000. An American doctor instructs an assistant to dispose of formaldehyde in a bottle in the morgue of a U.S. military base in South Korea. The assistant replied, "It's a poison and can't be discarded." But the doctor said, "You can flush it into the sewer." The assistant reluctantly picks up the medicine bottle and flushes formaldehyde through the drain of the sink. Behind it was a plethora of bottles. 2 years later, a man fishing in Hong Kong catches a small creature he has never seen. The creature, with its many tail fins, moved quickly and disappeared into the river. A few years later, Kondo, the eldest son of the Park family, who runs a shop on the riverbed of the Han River, fell asleep in the middle of the shop number. Kondo, a middle-aged man who lives carefree while being scolded by his father Haban. He loves Hanseo, the only daughter of a junior high school student. After returning from school, Yoon-soo stands in front of the TV with Kondo's younger sister, archery player. Namyo's game broadcast has begun. When Kondo brought beer to the customers on the riverbed, there was a crowd on the riverside. Under the bridge is a mysterious and eerie creature hanging. The creatures have fallen into the river and have swam towards us. This monster called Guemoru, which seems to be a mutated fish, goes up to the land and runs while kicking people. The riverbed was in a mess in an instant. An American man rushes to help Guemoru, attacking those who have fled to the rest area. Without knowing Kondo, he cooperated with the man to attack Guemoru. On the contrary, Guemoru attacks the man and rushes towards Kondo. Yoon-soo and Haban are enthusiastic about Namyo's game without knowing the noise outside. The support of the two was vain, and Namyo ran out of time at the last minute, resulting in a bronze medal. Yoon-soo, who was disappointed and went outside, noticed a strange atmosphere. When Kondo finds Hanseo, he hurriedly grabs Hanseo's hand and runs away from Guemoru. However, the momentum of the fall caused the hands to come off and the two were separated. Guemoru wrapped the late Hanseo around his long tail, jumped into the river, and swam away to the opposite bank. Although Kondo jumps into the river at once, there is nothing to do because he cannot swim. That night, a joint funeral was held for the victims of Guemoru. The family cries in front of Namyo and Yoon-soo's deceased after the match. Yoon-soo's mother just left Kondo and Yoon-soo 3 years ago. Haban wasn't pitied by the dead Hanseo. People on the riverbed are considered at risk of infection and are taken to a hospital. Television news reported that the virus was detected in the body of Donald, an American who was attacked by Guemoru. At midnight, Kondo's cell phone in the hospital room rings. When he got out, the other party was Yoon-soo, who should have died. Guemoru nests in sewers and carries corpses one after another. Yoon-soo was looking for a cell phone that could be used from the pocket of the corpse and asked for help. Kondo and his friends explain to the police that Yoon-soo is alive, but they blame him for being just a delusion. Then, the family decided to rescue Yoon-soo by themselves, and escaped from the hospital in the turmoil of the surroundings. He jumped on a wagon car procured by Haban and shook off the chasing police officers and went outside. The dubious vendor Haban commissioned will send you an old truck and gun, and a map of the sewer in exchange for a fortune. Kondo and Haban passed through the checkpoint under the guise of an employee of an epidemic prevention company, and the truck relied on the map to head for the sewer. The family blindly wanders in the sewer, but Hanseo is nowhere to be found. A brother wandering outside the sewer passed by without his parents. Surprised by the gun-carrying Parks, the two left the scene and sneaked into an unmanned shop on the riverbed to procure food. Then you will come across Guemoru while walking along the riverbank. Soon after, the Pakyu family also entered the kiosk and had a meal and a break. The four exhausted people fall asleep as they are. After returning to the sewer, Guemoru is about to drop his brother caught on the riverbank. "My brother was already dead." Yoon-soo hugs his surviving younger brother and holds his breath so that Guemoru is not noticed. Kondo and Haban found Guemoru outside the shop. When Haban shoots a gun, Guemoru, who has turned upside down, hits the store. the shopkeepers who lie down and the 4 who crawl out chase after Guaymoro, who runs away. Guaymoro jumped into the river, hoping for a bridge. Iban triggers the rushing Guaymoro, but due to Kondo's misunderstanding, the gun has already run out. Guaymoro hits the standing Iban's body against the ground and jumps into the river. A police officer chased Namyo escape from the scene, but Kondo, who is upset by his father's death, is caught. News of the death of non-commissioned officer Donald in the hospital circulated over South Korea. Anxiety spreads among the people in the news that the cause was infected with the Guaymoro virus. Namyo, who became a lieutenant after being separated from Namyo, contacted his senior in college and asked for help. Seniors say that the calling location can be identified from Hyunso's mobile number. His senior was calling a detective for a bounty on the Pakyu family. Namuel, who found Hyunso's whereabouts at the last minute, succeeded in escaping from the office. He hid himself from the pursuit police car but fell under the overpass. Namyo took out his cell phone and sent an email to Namyo saying Wanyo Ohashi Kondo, who was put in the quarantine base, was also contacted by Namyo on his mobile phone, and he couldn't help it. I can hear an American doctor by my side saying, as a result of the autopsy of NCO Donald, there was no virus. Knowing the state secret, Kondo feels dangerous and tries to escape, but is tied to her bed. At that time, Hyunso was looking for an escape method with the surviving boy Seju. They make a rope from the clothes of the corpse and hang it on the fence of the sewer, but it is not long enough. Guaymoro returned to the troubled place and found a place to hide the 2. On the other hand, Kondo also fights back. Pick up the syringe from the nurse, take it hostage and escape from the base. He jumped on an ambulance and headed for the Han River. Around the same time, Namu wakes up with the help of a strange homeless man. A man who was interested in Namuel, who said he was heading to Wanyo Ohashi, boarded a taxi with Namuel. In the Han River, the military is waiting to spray the chemical agent yellow to get rid of Guaymoro. There were also student and civilian demonstrators who opposed the spraying. In the sewer, Hyunso decides to take a chance when Guaymoro sleeps. Run up his back and cling to the rope made of his clothes. She jumped at Hanzio and Sigil. And Kondo arrived at the plaza of the fuss at the demonstration. Guaymoro appears from the Han River while the riot police and demonstrators are glaring at each other. The spraying of Agent Yellow began, and in a blink of an eye the surrounding area became pure white with smoke. Guaymoro fluttered around and collapsed. Hyunso's arm is peeked out from Guaymoro. When Kondo dragged Hyunso was hugging Sigil. Hyunso's consciousness does not return. Kondo holds up Hyunso while crying and goes to Namju and Namuel. Hanzio was already dead. Kondo and Namuel chase Guaymoro. A homeless man hung mosquitoes and soaring on Guaymoro from the top of the bridge. Namuel keeps throwing homemade Molotov cocktails, but almost never hits them, and the last one is also missed. Namyo emerges from behind Namuel and shoots a fire arrow at Guaymoro. Guaymoro was finally killed when Kondo stabbed an iron rod into Guaymoro, who was trying to escape into the river after becoming a fireball. Then, time passed, and one night, Kondo, who was in charge of the store, felt a slight sign and involuntarily grasped the gun. But there was nothing outside. Sigil, who was sleeping comfortably, gets up with the voice of Go Sutter. He heard news from the TV that the United States failed to detect the virus, but Kondo turned off the TV without showing any interest.